History has several beautiful stories about leaders who have helped societies, communities, countries, institutions, and organizations to really excel. And some of these leaders have done a brilliant turnaround job from where nothing could have that impacted that place where they were positively, yet they created that change. Or there are leaders who have taken things from good to great, or there are leaders who had nothing and then they created it. Look back at history for these lessons, and from military to politics to academia to industry, you'll find enough stories. But there are some that comes to my mind, and I'll encourage you to start here. Like, look at Steve Jobs' story, and in his second coming to Apple, see how he turned around the organization and gave it that iconic turn, which even today is still an uptick that Apple is looking at. Or look at where SpaceX is, what organizations like NASA and ISRO have possibly not been able to achieve, SpaceX has done in a very short time. So the story of how Elon Musk went about doing this is wonderful. And why go that far in terms of lessons for our own Bharatiya community, our own history? If you see our honorable late President Shri Abdul Kalam Azad ji, the missile man of India, the way he did what he did with the India's missile and space program is remarkable. There's this iconic photograph, and many of you would have seen it, of the young scientist, the then Abdul Kalam Azad, starting off with his career, was carrying a missile part on his bicycle to the launch place. And these were times when India did not have too much infrastructure. From there to today having one of the best missile programs in the world, he's been instrumental in not just building the missiles, but building the institutions, building the scientific thinking, building the whole approach to nation and national pride, and even our nuclear programs, for that matter of fact. So while I leave that story for all of you to explore, and several stories, and you must explore this in different fields, I will encourage you. And by the way, let me mention this. If you see some of the Nobel Prize winners, also you will see these stories that I'm talking about, or scientific discoveries in the space of physics or chemistry or mathematics. They would have seen these kind of things. There's a framework that I have studied and I have evolved over a period of time, and it constitutes of 4 things that these change leaders do brilliantly. Number 1, they are flexible about their paths while being rigid about their mission outcomes. 2, they are fluid in their actions but rigid about the standards. 3, they are functional with their outcomes but they are rigid about being progressive. And 4th, they are futuristic in their outlook yet rigid about practical progress and application of what they're doing. Now, let me talk a little bit more about this. Now, the flexibility in the thoughts and path. This is where change leaders start. They assimilate understanding from various fields, various people, actual science and practice. Remember, not opinions, but actual facts and ideas and science of things. And they're very rigid about looking at the future, at what the mission objectives is, while being flexible on these thoughts and paths. That gives them the way to design the means, design the approach to get to that mission objective with all practicality, yet that zeal to achieve the ultimate outcomes. And this is where, remember, change leaders don't go after low-hanging fruits. They don't do band-aids. There are so many leaders out there today in various aspects of life. They do a lot of band-aid fixes and they forget to do the deep foundational work. But change leaders, they do deep foundational work. And where they start is with those thoughts and the paths, which then translates into the fluidity of action while being rigid about standards. So whatever they think, whatever they decide, they fluidly, they smoothly implement that. They work on it. They choose the course corrections which are required. They make the adjustments. They are not hung on to their thoughts and their paths, but they're hung on to standards. They need excellence. They need no excuses. So in intent, in clarity, and in accountability, they are seamless. So their intent evolves into clarity. The clarity evolves into accountability through action. And that's what change leaders continue to do as a progress. And how do they assess themselves? They assess themselves by being functional in their outlook, in their outcomes, and yet being rigid about being progressive. And that means that that testing, that if on consumer or customer standards things are coming through, on stakeholder standards things are coming through, on employee standards if things are coming through, on legal frameworks, regulatory requirements, societal norms, sustainable development goals, are whatever they're doing, is it coming through? So they keep that larger view and the lens, and they never miss the fact that things have to be progressive. Remember, no progress is equal to regression. No progress doesn't stay the same. No progress is equal to regression. Some progress is also progress. So they are progressive as change leaders, and they are fluid with the outcomes that come while they do that. So they accept outcomes and keep moving forward. And at the same time, what they also do is they build capacity. So they're not just delivering for today, but they're delivering for tomorrow, but building capacity for day after and the future. And that's what makes them very futuristic in their outlook. So it's not just their thoughts, but their approach, the work, the nudge, the progress that they have is futuristic, while they always make sure that there is enough practical progress. The focus on ROI doesn't go away. The focus on bottom lines doesn't go away. So while they sustain the customer stakeholders and the employees, they ensure that the environment gets taken care of. These communities get taken care of. So bottom line never suffers, and the rights of people or the various stakeholders don't suffer. They balance that out, and that's where the futuristic comes in. Hope you're able to pick up on some of these things and work. In case you want to have deeper conversations on this, leave me a note and we can get connected and speak about this, because this is a very deep framework with a lot of mindsets and skills involved in it. But hope this approach gives you the understanding of how to move from vision to action to impact, and how to inspire change.